Congress is sending President Barack Obama a new federal budget after letting the last fiscal year lapse without one. The new budget goes through the next 2 fiscal years until September 30th, 2015, and it passed the U.S. Senate today. It already passed the House of Representatives, where only one Hoosier voted against it. District 1 Representative Pete Visclosky told Lakeshore's Jerry Howard why he voted against this budget plan and how he's preparing for the next one.
You said it was a take it or leave it approach. Is that how you felt like it was with the bill that came through?
It was more the issue of the process generally and its non-inclusive nature. But secondly, that we were nibbling around the margins of 3 things. We need to create more jobs by having confidence that we've made decisions that carry us further into the future than essentially a year and 9 months, because that's what we have done. I tell people on the Defense Appropriations Subcommittee, we're trying to pivot this nation in the Pacific Ocean, a large body of water. We have huge acquisition programs. We have over 1 million people involved in the military in uniform. They need an extended period of time to plan. That was a failure. The lack of inclusiveness was a failure. And again, for the next generation, where more than 2/3 of all federal spending now are those earned benefit programs, Social Security and Medicare, they were left unaddressed. And I think that outweighed the benefits of what happened last week.
Well, let's talk about the benefits. You've been a champion, a verbal champion even, of some sort of collaboration. Does this not meet your threshold?
It does allow us to collaborate on the Appropriations Committee, and you're absolutely correct. I have complained bitterly in the past that our committee, which makes decisions for how you run the government on a day-to-day basis, it could be the Department of Education, Defense, it could be the Copyright Royalty Tribunal, will now be allowed to get our work done. I do hope that allows us to do all 12 bills. There's still an open question as to whether the bill that deals with Health and Human Services and the Department of Labor will simply be a continuing resolution or not. That is positive, and the fact that potentially we do it for the next year is a positive, but I really felt that the negatives outweighed the fact that we made a positive step forward. And I would point out that the vote for the bill was not partisan. The votes against the bill were not partisan, and that is fine. That's essentially the way we ought to be making decisions.
Well, you stand alone as the sole Hoosier that did not vote for this budget. What does that say?
I have no idea, and people would have to interpret that event because I made a discrete decision as to what I thought was the best for the people I represent in Northwest Indiana. A year ago, we had a vote on fiscal matters and tax policy. I was one of 16 Democrats nationwide who voted no. People will have to make their own judgment as to whether or not my decision was correct or not.
Reference earlier about the prospect of an omnibus bill. Maybe folding several budget items into one. How optimistic are you that that will happen?
I'm very optimistic, and what we have done on the committee is anticipate that if an agreement was reached, and it was, and the Senate is voting, I think, pretty much as we meet at this point in time, we wanted to be prepared to go because the next deadline is the middle of January. And so a fair amount of work as far as just being prepared to begin those negotiations and those first tentative communications had already taken place. And as we speak,
the new budget goes to the president for a signature after passing the Senate with nearly 2/3 vote.